Is continuation to the last class. How the lipids may be gets absorbed, how the digested lipids may be absorbed into the lymph vessel means fatty acids glycerols are gets formed due to the digestion of the fats. This fatty acids and glycerol are insoluble, so that only they may not be directly diffuses into the blood. So at first they maybe gets converted into micelles in lumen of small intestine. Later micelles are gets diffuses into the mucosal cells of small intestine, where around to that micelle lipoprotein coat is gets formed here. After getting the formation of the lipoprotein coat around to the micelle, then it is said to be as the chylomicron. Means micelles formation is taken place in the lumen of the small intestine. Chylomicrons formation is taken place in the mucosal cells of the small intestine. Again, how that kind of the chylomicrons are reaches to the lacteals means by exocytosis process, they may be reaches into the lacteal. What is the exocytosis means? Without getting rupturing cell membrane, this chylomicrons, if they maybe gets moves out into the lacteal, then we can say that is the exocytosis. Again, after reaching to the lacteal, this chylomicrons from the lacteal reaches to lymph vessel. They reaches to lymph vessels. From the lymph vessel, they reaches to left thoracic duct. Again, from the left thoracic duct, they may be entered into the left free caval vein. At the junction between the left subclavian vein and internal jugular vein, means when we observe the lymphatic system before going to the left thoracic duct and lymph vessel, just assume this is the lymph capillaries, that is the lacteal. These are the lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries are gets aggregated and form the lymph vessel. Just assume this is the lymph vessel. Again, lymph vessels are aggregated and form the lymphatic duct. This is the lymphatic duct. This is the lymphatic duct. These are the lymphocapillaries, such as the lacteal. So this lymphatic duct, specifically left side of the lymphatic duct, gets opens into left free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and free caval vein. Just assume this is the left free caval vein. Again, this is the internal jugular vein. This is the subclavian vein. This is the subclavian vein. This is the internal jugular vein. This is the internal jugular vein. At the junction between the subclavian vein and internal jugular vein, this left lymphatic duct is gets opens into free caval vein. Means at first chylomicrons which are gets formed in the mucosal cell, by the exocytosis reaches into lacteal. Lacteal nothing but lymphocapillary which is present in the villi. From where that chylomicrons reaches into lymphovessel, from where into the left lymphatic duct, from where they reaches into the free caval vein at the junction between the subclavian vein and the internal jugular vein. Means finally chylomicrons are reaches into the blood stream in left side of the free caval vein. Again, in the wall of the free caval vein, endothelial cells which are present, they secrete a specific type of the enzyme that is said to be as the lipoprotein lipase. That is said to be as the lipoprotein lipase. Lipoprotein lipase convert chylomicrons again into the fatty acids and glycerol. Specifically after entering of the chylomicron into lacteal, this chylomicrons from the lacteals reaches into lymphovessel, means these are said to be as the lacteal. Chylomicrons at first reaches into the lacteal by the exocytosis, from where they reaches into lymphovessel, from where they reaches into the left lymphatic duct, from where they finally releases into the blood of the left free caval vein at the junction between the internal jugular vein and the subclavian vein. While the chylomicrons are passes through the blood stream in free caval vein, endothelial cells which are present in the wall of the free caval vein, that endothelial cells secrete lipoprotein lipase enzyme onto the chylomicron. Definitely lipoprotein lipase plus chylomicrons, finally chylomicrons are gets converted into the fatty acids plus glycerol. Finally, in the case of the free caval vein, with the help of the lipoprotein lipase, this chylomicrons again gets splitted into the fatty acids and glycerol. This fatty acids and glycerol later gets transported to the liver for synthesis of the new triglyceride, or they may be reaches to the adipose tissue for getting the storage. Here very important, how that kind of the fats are gets absorbed is very important. Once again I want to repeat it. Definitely at first fatty acids and glycerol which are gets formed due to the fats digestion are not directly absorbed into the blood because of due to the insoluble nature. They are at first gets transferred into the micelle in lumen of the small intestine. Later by simple diffusion they may be reaches into the mucosal cells, where that micelles are coated with the lipoprotein. Then onwards they are said to be as the chylomicrons. This chylomicrons by exocytosis process they reaches into the lacteal at first. From the lacteals they reaches into the lymphovessel, means just assume this is the lacteal, that is the lymphocapillary. From where they reaches into lymphovessel, from where they reaches into the lymphatic duct, from where they releases into the bloodstream of the left free caval vein at the junction between the subclavian vein and the internal jugular vein. While that chylomicrons are transported through while that chylomicrons are transported through bloodstream of left precaval vein onto the chylomicron. Endothelial cells of the precaval vein releases lipoprotein lipase. Again, lipoprotein lipase splits chylomicrons into the fatty acids and glycerol. Means fatty acids and glycerol again gets formed from the chylomicron with the help of the lipoprotein lipase in left precaval vein, from where this fatty acids and glycerol are gets transported to the liver or to the adipose tissue for getting the storage. This is the fats transportation or the fats absorption. Next, in the alimentary canal of human, at various sites, various type of the materials also gets absorbed at various rates. What are the various substances which are absorbed at various parts of alimentary canal? Means, in the case of the mouth, what are the substances which are gets absorbed? Means certain types of drugs are gets absorbed. For example, aspirin. Aspirin is easily gets absorbed into the blood through the mucosa of oral cavity or on the ventral surface of the tongue. This kind of the aspirin tablet is easily gets absorbed into the blood. Means, in the case of the mouth, certain type of the drugs are gets absorbed. Again, in stomach, what are the substances which are gets absorbed? Means, water is absorbed through the wall of the stomach. Simple sugars are absorbed. Alcohol is absorbed. Certain type of the drugs also gets absorbed. So, water absorption is taking place through the wall of the stomach. Simple sugars, alcohol, certain type of the drugs also gets absorbed through the wall of the stomach. Next, through the small intestine, this is the principal site for absorption as well as for digestion also. Small intestine is the principal site for absorption as well as the digestion. Means, what are the substances which are gets absorbed? Means, glucose, fructose, galactose, amino acids, fatty acids, glycerol, again vitamins, again water. So, principally glucose, fructose, galactose, amino acid, fatty acid, glycerol, vitamin. Water absorption is principally taken place through the wall of the small intestine. Maximum absorption is taken place through the wall of the small intestine. Next to large intestine, through the wall of the large intestine, what are the substances which are gets absorbed? Means, water, minerals, again principally through the wall of the large intestine, maximum amount of water is gets absorbed, minerals are absorbed, certain type of the drugs also gets absorbed. Large intestine is principally useful for the reabsorption of the water which is present in the undigested unabsorbed food material. Maximum amount of the water absorption is taken place through the wall of the large intestine. Larger amount of the water is gets absorbed through the wall of the large intestine. In that way, definitely drugs may be absorbed either through the wall of the mouth or through the stomach or through the wall of the large intestine. Drugs absorption may not be taken place through the wall of the small intestine. This is the absorption of the various substances at various sites. Next to assimilation. Next one is the assimilation. What is the meaning of the assimilation? Means after completing the digestion, digested food materials are absorbed into the blood. Through the bloodstream, the digested food material is transported to the various parts of the body. In various parts of the body, digested food material is oxidized. By that way, they releases the energy into the cell. By utilizing that kind of the energy, new materials are gets synthesized inside of the cell. That new materials useful for the growth of the cell or for the repair of the cell or for the regeneration of the cell. If this kind of the digested food material is oxidized inside of the cell, if they maybe releases the energy, by that way if new material is synthesized for cells growth, for cells repair, for cells regeneration, that process is said to be as the assimilation. Assimilation nothing but oxidation of the digested food material inside of the cell. By that way, if energy is releases, by utilizing that energy, new biomass is gets synthesized inside of the cell for cell growth, for cell repair, for cell regeneration. Then we can say that is the assimilation. Means if digested food material is becomes as the integral part of a cell, if it is useful for the synthesis of the new biomass by releasing energy by oxidation, then we can say that is the assimilation. Next one is the defecation or egestion. Defecation or egestion. Undigested food, unabsorbed food material finally reaches into the rectum. Means after completing the digestion, after completing the absorption, undigested, unabsorbed food material finally reaches into the rectum, where that maybe gets stored temporarily. During that, rectum at first receive or rectum at first reabsorbed water which is present in the undigested and unabsorbed food. Later add the mucus onto the stored undigested unabsorbed food material. Whenever the rectum secrete mucus onto the undigested unabsorbed food material, that mucus helpful to that kind of the undigested unabsorbed food material to adhere one with another. By that way, that leads to the formation of the feces. means definitely rectum at first useful or induces the reabsorption of the water from the undigested food. Secondly, that secrete the mucus for getting the formation of the feces. After getting the formation of the feces, after rectum is fully filled with the feces, from the rectal wall, nerve impulse or gets sent to the cerebral cortex, where that nerve impulse is analyzed. Later from the cerebral cortex, voluntary signals are sent to the rectal wall. Definitely after getting the filling of rectum fully with the feces, from this kind of the rectal wall, neural signals are sent to cerebral cortex, that is the part of the brain, where that impulse are gets analyzed. Later from the cerebral cortex, voluntary signals are sent to the rectal wall. As a result of this, mass peristaltic movements are gets begins in the rectal wall. Mass peristaltic movements are gets begins in the rectal wall. By that way, this feces is gets forcefully pushed to the out through the anal opening. That kind of the process is said to be as the defecation or the ejection. In this particular defecation, the neuronal pathway through which that nerve impulse gets travelled, that neuronal pathway is said to be as the neural reflex. This is said to be as the neural reflex or ejection reflex. Definitely from the rectal wall, at first nerve signal is gets neural signal is sent to the cerebral cortex, from where again voluntary signals are gets sent to the wall of the rectum. This neural pathway, this route of the neural pathway is said to be as the neural reflex. By that way only finally in wall of the rectum, forceful peristaltic movement, mass peristaltic movements are gets begin. By that way only feces is gets forcefully pushed to the out through the anal opening. That is said to be as the defecation. This defecation is voluntary process. This is the voluntary process, means with the conscious of person that kind of the defecation is gets occurs, with willing of the person only that kind of the defecation is occurs. So that only that is said to be as the voluntary process. In the defecated matter, certain type of the plant fibers remains as it is without getting any change. Such kind of the plant fiber which is retains as it is without getting change in feces are said to be as the roughage. The plant fibers which may be retains as it is in the feces of the person without getting any change are said to be as the roughages. In that way, defecation is nothing but process of the elimination of the undigested, unabsorbed food which is present in the rectum to out is said to be as the defecation. Next one is the intestinal hormones. What are the various type of the hormones which may be secreted from the various parts of alimentary canal to regulate the digestive system activity? Definitely digestive system activity is regulated by both the nervous system as well as endocrine system. Nervous system must be regulate the digestive system activity, and also endocrine system regulate the digestive system activity. How the nervous system control the digestive system activity means, on seeing the food material, on taste of the food material, or with the sense of the smell, that stimulations stimulate, that sensations stimulate salivary glands to release the salivary juice into the oral cavity. By that way, digestion maybe gets, digestive system activity maybe gets increases. Means definitely nervous system must be take part in regulation of the digestive system activity. Similarly, parasympathetic nervous system always increases digestive system activity, sympathetic nervous system always inhibit digestive system activity. Means whenever the person is with anxiety, definitely sympathetic nervous system becomes excitable. By that way, that inhibit the secretions of the digestive juice, that induces the contraction of the sphincters to get close. By that way, digestive system activity gets decreases. But whenever the person is successfully escaped from emergency, whenever the person reaches to the resting, immediately parasympathetic nervous system becomes excitable. This parasympathetic nervous system immediately induces relaxation of the sphincters, increases the peristaltic movement rate. By that way, digestive glands becomes active. They maybe start secretion of their secretion into the lamina of alimentary canal. By that way, digestive system activity gets increases. In that way, the parts of nervous system such as the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system works against with each other to regulate digestive system activity. Means sympathetic nervous system always inhibit the digestive system activity, parasympathetic nervous system always increases the rate of the digestion or the digestive system activity here. Similarly, endocrine system also regulate digestive system activity. Means certain type of the hormones are secreted from the wall of the alimentary canal. Such hormones also regulate digestive system activity. Then what are the various type of the hormones which may be secreted from various parts of alimentary canal, and what is their respective functioning is nothing but intestinal hormones. What are the various type of the intestinal hormones which may be secreted, and what is their site of secretion, what is their respective functioning is nothing but intestinal hormones. Definitely intestinal hormones. What are the various type of the intestinal hormones means, if we want to see it in the form of the table, in first column name of hormone, source of hormone means from where that is secreted, function of hormone. To simply understand, we have to see this intestinal hormones in the form of the table. Of that, in the first column we have to take the name of the hormone. In second column, from where that is secreted, what is the functioning of that kind of the hormone is the third. The first hormone which is secreted is the gastrin hormone that is secreted from G cells of pyloric stomach. Definitely in the case of the pyloric stomach, G cells are present. From the G cells of pyloric stomach, this gastrin is secreted. This gastrin induces gastric glands to secrete gastric juice with HCl and pepsinogen. Definitely gastrin hormone induces gastric glands to secrete the gastric juice with HCl and pepsinogen. Second one is the gastric inhibitory peptide or enterogastrin. That is the enterogastrin or gastric inhibitory peptide hormone that is secreted from mucosal cells of duodenum. Principally, gastric inhibitory peptide hormone is secreted from the mucosal cells of duodenum. It inhibits gastric motility and emptying of stomach. Means definitely it decreases peristaltic movement of the stomach, and also it does not allows the pass of the food from the stomach into duodenum. It may not allows the pass of the food material from the stomach into the duodenum. That is said to be as it inhibits the emptying of the stomach. Means it may not allows the pass of the food from the stomach into the duodenum. That is said to be as it inhibits the emptying of stomach, and it inhibits gastric glands act